This is the original podcast edition of The Guild of the Cowry Catchers by Abigail Hilton, now part of the complete Pirates of Wefrevane series. The books are available as audiobooks, ebooks, and paperbacks. This podcast originally aired from 2010 to 2014. Stick around after the story for commentary from me, the author, more than a decade later. The Guild of the Cowry Catchers, a novel of pirates and Panamindorah. Written and narrated by Abigail Hilton. Book 1. Embers. Warning: this novel was intended for people who shop in the grown-up section of the bookstore. It is not intended for children or young teens. If you need to ask whether you will be offended, you probably will. Episode 11.
Hi, I'm Jack Hosley, aka The Wanderwolf from WanderRadio.com. Previously on the Cowry Catchers podcast. While the Fang is being repaired, Silvio suggests a trip into Mercat to one of Halaveras' holdings. Gerard is surprised when Silvio invites no one except Gerard and Thessalon, and does not even object when Alcer drops into the boat. They go on a picnic to one of Halaveras' uninhabited numeraries. Silvio shares a sad story from his childhood. He explains his life philosophy. Everyone's wrong, everyone cheats, everyone will sell you for the right price, there are no real choices. Yet, he seems charmed by Thessalon's optimism and Gerard's concept of honor. They return to the ship and spend about a yellow month sailing back to the Great Isles under pleasant conditions. They arrive on Mance, and Gerard travels across the island to deposit Thessalon at her old school, where she will visit friends while Gerard and Silvio are investigating the island indicated on the wall of the tea house. However, upon returning to the ship, Gerard learns that Silvio has disappeared.
Chapter 31. Missing.
Selkies are seal shelts. There are several subspecies, but they are all secretive, and have as little to do with fawns and penons as possible. They avoid the wyvern-infested waters of Wefrevane, even though its islands and reefs make good habitat for them. Harbor masters love to enslave Selkies. They can speak, and they are very intelligent, so they are more useful than cowry catchers. Penon sailors say that Selkies have tasty meat, and their skins make good waterproof clothing. Gwaine, the non-Grishnards of Wefrevane.
Silvio had left a few hours after Thessalon and Gerard. He'd been dressed in blue and white linen, with only one set of earrings, quiet by his standards. He'd exchanged a few comments with the sailors on deck. One had ventured to ask where he was going, and he'd been heard to respond, looking for trouble. He had not come back to the ship that night. It was now after dark of the second day, and he'd still not returned. No one, including Farrell or his ship's boy, knew where he'd gone. Gerard had served with Silvio long enough to know that this was highly unusual behavior. Silvio considered the Fang his home, and never slept ashore unless some urgent need required it. In spite of Silvio's take-no-prisoners policy, there were still many Shelts in Wefrevane who had reason to hate him, and of course there was always the resistance. It was the general opinion aboard ship that he was probably dead. He'd already survived far longer than most admirals of the Temple Sea Watch.
"Skipper's finally run into more trouble than he has knives,"
muttered a sailor on deck.
"Spitty. He was a good skipper for all he was a foxling and a dock rat."
The sailors had lit more torches on deck than was customary. They should have been in town, enjoying themselves, but mostly they weren't. They weren't singing or dancing either. They weren't playing flutes, or fiddles, or carving, or scribbling letters. They were just waiting. Gerard paced the deck of the Fang as the night grew later. He felt as though he should be doing something, but he didn't know what. He could tell that Alcer wanted to say, "good riddance," but Gerard's manner must have made him think better of it, because he went off to their cabin without saying anything. Gerard racked his brain, trying to think of where Silvio might have gone looking for trouble. They had no reason to think that Gawain was on Mance. As far as Gerard knew, Silvio did not know of any suspicious persons on Mance.
But Silvio knew all kinds of things he didn't tell me. There's nothing I can do. I should go to bed.
But he didn't. One by one the sailors left the deck, all except the night watch. Around midnight, Gerard climbed into the maintop and found Farrell there alone, looking out over the lights of the city. Gerard leaned against the mast beside him. They were quiet for a long time. Finally, Gerard said,
Where would he go, Farrell? You were his lover. Surely you have some idea.
Farrell laughed bitterly.
I'll tell you a secret about our Admiral Gerard. I've been sailing with him since he came to the watch. I'm not saying Silvio doesn't have his frisky moments, but mostly what he wants from a lover is a warm body to curl up against at night. He has horrific nightmares when he sleeps alone. Sometimes he just wants someone in the room, a nightlight, another set of ears to hear an assassin's footfall. He'll give what he thinks he needs to give to get that, but nothing more.
Gerard remembered something Thessalon had said.
Sex is just the price he has to pay for, I'm not sure, comfort, security, reassurance.
I don't ask anything of him,
continued Farrell.
I don't even like boys, but I'll keep him company. He's gone away and come back to me several times. I have known Shelts to leave him out of boredom, but that doesn't usually happen, because he takes good care of his bed warmers. I have a son on a merchant ship. Silvio got him an excellent position. I'd be a friend if he'd let me, but Silvio doesn't want friends. He doesn't like it when Shelts get attached, and he fears being a nuisance. He changes his lovers like other Shelts change bed linen, but he's not nearly as busy as he likes the sailors to think.
Farrell paused.
If he comes back, please don't tell him I said any of this. He'd kill me. I mean, he really might. Silvio values his legend. He guards it.
Why are you telling me?
Asked Gerard. Farrell turned to look at him in the moonlight, his expression almost envious.
He trusts you. Silvio doesn't trust anyone. I mean, no one, Gerard. He has followers and audiences, and the occasional lover. He does not have friends. But the way he behaves with you and your wife, that's the closest I've ever seen him. You probably know him better than I do, and if anyone can figure out where he's gone, it's you.
Gerard felt sad and ill.
This is not helping me, Farrell.
He went off to bed in the last watch of the night. Alcere stirred and yawned as he came in.
Has he come back?
Gerard shook his head. He lay down on the bed, fully clothed. Alcere sighed. He hopped up on the bed, making it creak dangerously. He rested his head and one paw on Gerard's chest.
He was a mean, unscrupulous, dishonorable tyrant who only kept you around because you were useful and hard to kill. You're making him into something he wasn't, Gerard, because you're lonely and you're already missing Thess.
Gerard shook his head. Alcere nuzzled his cheek.
All right, so disagree with me. Say something. Talk to me.
I'm thinking.
About what?
Where would he go?
A brothel?
Gerard shook his head.
Silvio doesn't patronize brothels.
He'd never thought about it, but it was true. After what Farrell had said, and knowing Silvio's background, Gerard doubted that any of Silvio's relationships were actually coercive, at least as Silvio saw them.
Looking for trouble. What does that mean?
Alcere snorted.
From Silvio, not much.
Gerard sat up and looked at him.
You're right.
Alcere seemed confused.
What?
Gerard drew a deep breath.
If he wasn't looking for trouble, what if he just said that to be silly?
The more Gerard thought about it, the more he knew he was right. It was exactly the sort of thing Silvio would say if it wasn't true. It was the kind of thing he would not have said if it was true. Gerard lay back down.
Where would Silvio go if he was just out to stretch his legs, out for amusement?
Chapter 32. Final Warning.
We are told that wyverns protect us from wizards and shapeshifters, but where are these monsters? They appear as nothing but legends and old ballads. No living person has seen such a creature, because they do not exist. Gawain, the truth about wyverns.
Gerard woke with the answer. He sat up straight, knocking his chin against Alcer's beak.
Clothes or books?
Alcer growled and pricked Gerard with his claws, but Gerard shoved the paw off his chest and got up.
Mance is famous for books. Gawain and Silvio both like books. I don't know why I didn't see it earlier.
He strode out of the cabin, rubbing his eyes and running his fingers through his hair. The sun had just risen, and the harbor was a sea of mist. Gerard had been on Mance several times briefly when he was a watchmaster. He'd been here a little longer on his coming-of-age tour, and he had a vague memory of Scrivener's Way, the area around Solomade, best known for books. It was on the far side of town, a long walk from the docks. He had to ask several Shelts how to get there, but he did arrive around mid-morning. The district was large, full of bookshops, and items related to the making and maintenance of books. Gerard bought some food from a street vendor, consumed it in a few bites, and started looking through the shops. He wasn't sure what he was looking for, only that he would know it when he found it. Around noon he stepped into a shop that specialized in old books. Gerard walked along the shelves, scanning the authors and titles. When he came to the back of the store, he turned and saw something in a chink between the wall and a bookcase. It was just a glimmer of metal, but Gerard had sharp eyes. After glancing around to make sure that no one was watching, he unsheathed his sword and used it to lever the item out of its crevice. It was a throwing knife, a very plain specimen. Gerard had no way of proving that it belonged to Silvio, except that his gut told him that it did. Silvio owned every conceivable kind of throwing knife, and he lost and replaced them regularly. He had a few shiny knives, but he only pulled them out when he was seeking to impress. Gerard resheathed his sword and tucked the knife into his boot sheath. He looked again at the chink. In order to have landed there, the knife had to have been thrown from the very back wall.
Did someone corner you here, Silvio?
He walked around the bookshop several times. He thought he saw scratches on one wall that could have come from a knife glancing off, and he found stains on the stone in one place that could have been blood. Of course, the scratches could have come from a piece of furniture, and the stains could have come from almost anything.
I wish I had your nose, Silvio.
A Grishnard clerk sat at the desk near the store's entrance, reading. She looked up as Gerard leaned over the desk.
Was there a foxling in here any time in the last few days?
The clerk shook her head. I don't know. I've only been here today.
Who was here yesterday and the day before?
The girl inched away from him. Just another girl. We don't own the bookstore. We just work here.
Who owns it?
Gerard realized that he was being menacing, and he didn't care. Marsh and Finn, said the clerk. They own all the stores on this block. She stood and took a step back. Now I have to close for the afternoon. Please leave. Gerard leaned over the desk and collared her with one hand.
What have you done with him?
The girl looked truly frightened. I don't know what you're talking about, sir. Please let go of me. I'll scream. Gerard released her in disgust and stalked out of the bookstore. None of the others were closing. He proceeded down the entire block, asking every clerk whether they'd seen a foxling. One admitted that he might have seen him 2 days ago.
He has silver white fur and hair,
said Gerard in annoyance.
How many silver foxlings do you get through these shops?
Several shop owners on other streets positively admitted to having seen Silvio. One said he'd sold Silvio a book, something about Masia Minor. Gerard stopped in the late afternoon to eat.
Silvio is probably dead. I've probably dumped him in the harbor by now. I'll be lucky to even find his body.
A half-watch later, most of the shops started closing. Lanterns were lit in the streets. Gerard had noticed a few urchins and vagrants during the day, but with nightfall he began to see more.
This is not a good part of town after dark. I should get back to the ship. Maybe he's even there.
But he kept walking up and down the streets. Once or twice, Gerard thought someone was following him. but when he turned to confront the culprits, they disappeared. Gerard wished he'd brought Alcere. He was just thinking that he really should go back to the ship when he saw a shadow drop from the roof of a building and duck into a stairwell. The shadow had been black, without a hint of white, but the profile seemed familiar. Gerard picked up his pace and almost ran to the spot where the shadow had vanished. Gerard peered into the recesses of the alcove. At first he saw nothing, but then he thought he saw a shape huddled in the far corner.
Silvio?
Nothing. Gerard wondered whether his straining eyes had deceived him. He also thought that if it really was Silvio, and he was frightened, he might try to kill any intruder. Gerard would make an easy target, outlined against the lantern light from the street. Still, he came on into the small space. He crouched down a few paces from whatever was huddled in the corner. The creature opened its eyes, and Gerard saw the light reflected off them. Pale blue. He gave a sigh of relief.
Silvio, what happened to you?
Silvio coughed.
Gerard,
he grated, with every sign of annoyance.
I would have thought you'd have taken over the Fang and sailed for Asia Minor by now.
Surely you know me better than that.
Watching him, Gerard guessed two things. He was unarmed and hurt. Gerard doubted that Silvio trusted anyone under those circumstances.
I've been looking through these shops all day. I thought my friend might have gotten himself into trouble.
Silvio closed his eyes.
Then you'd better go find him.
Can you walk?
Of course I can walk,
said Silvio, without moving.
What can I do to help?
You can shut up and go back to the Fang,
snarled Silvio, pulling himself up against the wall. Gerard said nothing.
The correct answer, Gerard, is yes, sir.
Yes, sir,
said Gerard, and waited. Silvio stood there for a moment and caught his breath. Finally, he turned a little unsteadily and made his way out of the alcove, one hand on the wall. Gerard stood to let him pass and then came out behind him. He realized then why Silvio was black. He was covered in soot.
Were you up a chimney?
No. I thought, if a little coal is good, why not bathe in it?
They proceeded for a distance in silence. Periodically, Silvio would stop and crouch down against the side of a building. Gerard watched to make sure they were not attacked. The third time it happened, he thought he heard a soft whimper.
Silvio, what's wrong? Please, let me help.
Silvio shook his head. He got to his feet again, carefully, as though he were treading on shards of glass.
Thirsty.
Gerard handed him his half-empty water skin. Silvio drank it, as though he'd never seen water before, and then sat down on a step. He buried his face in his arms and rocked back and forth. Finally, he raised his head, his pale eyes almost white in the moonlight.
Gerard, you should not have come looking for me.
Gerard sat down beside him.
You're probably right. You usually are. Do you want me to find some more water?
Silvio shook his head.
I'm going to say this slowly so that you can follow along. Don't trust me. Please.
Are we back to this again?
Yes.
Silvio seemed to be searching for words.
I have been living with myself for quite a while, and I know me better than you do.
Gerard flicked his tail, an impatient, cat-like gesture.
Oh, so you have some plan to dispose of me? Been working on it, have you?
No, I don't. But I've killed Shelts before whom I liked because they were in my way, or I thought they jeopardized my survival. I survive, Gerard. That's what I do.
And you're doing such a good job of it this evening.
Silvio ignored that.
You are just not vicious enough to do the job that you've been hired for. The priestesses...
He bit back whatever he'd been going to say.
There is still time. Take Thessalon and get out of here. Go anywhere, out of Wefervane, to the lawless lands, to the Pendulons, away from her, away from me.
Gerard crouched down in front of him.
Silvio, you're tired. You're hungry. And no matter what you say, I think you're hurt. You're babbling, and that's really not like you.
Silvio looked at him, then gave a great sigh. He started to say something else, and then didn't.
At this pace, we'll be all night getting back to the ship. I think whoever tried to kill you may still be looking. If you would let me carry you, we could cover the ground a lot faster.
The idea was practical, and Silvio was pragmatic if he was anything. Still, he had a collection of very impractical phobias. On impulse, Gerard reached into his boot and pulled out the throwing knife. He handed it to Silvio.
There, you're armed. You're not helpless. You can stab me if you need to. Now, will you let me pick you up?
Silvio looked at the knife. For 1 second, Gerard thought he might actually cry.
I'll ruin your coat.
You would think of the coat.
Gerard bent forward and scooped him up. Silvio trembled once, and then he was still. Gerard shifted him so that Silvio's head was against his shoulder. It was like carrying Alcere as a cub. He weighed less than Thessalin. Gerard had to loop his tail over one arm to keep it from dragging. Then he started off at a brisk pace.
Don't carry me onto the ship,
whispered Silvio.
I won't.
Silvio might lose respect with the sailors if they thought that Gerard had gone out and rescued him.
It wouldn't even be true. I'm almost sure he would have made it back without me.
Poisoned,
said Silvio after a moment.
Muscles keep cramping.
I figured. You're not bleeding, though?
Silvio shook his head. They walked for a long time in silence, and at last Gerard realized that he'd gone to sleep.
Do you feel safe now, Silvio?
Every now and then he'd twitch and whimper, but he never really woke until they were back to the docks. Gerard considered wrapping Silvio in his coat and carrying him onto the ship that way, but he knew that the sailors would figure that out, unless he was very lucky about who was on duty. While he was trying to decide, Silvio stirred and raised his head. He sniffed the air.
Put me down, Gerard.
Gerard did, but he thought for a moment that Silvio wouldn't let go of him. Then Silvio straightened up and walked away. Gerard peered around the side of the building. Silvio didn't flinch or crouch as he approached the Fang, and he called a greeting, in a normal voice, to the sailor on watch. He must have made a joke as he came up the gangplank, because Gerard heard the sailor laugh, a relieved sound. Gerard waited a quarter watch. He took his coat off, so that no one could see the soot on it, and then went aboard just before dawn. Later, he would remember the incident as the last time that Silvio tried to warn him, and he would wish, bitterly, that he had listened. That concludes this recording of The Guild of the Cowry Catchers, Book 1, Embers. Book 2 is called Flames, and if you're listening on podiobooks.com, you can do a search and see if it's up. If I have not posted it, and you really want to know what comes next, check my website at cowrycatchers.com. I release the completed books on Podiobooks, but I release them an episode at a time, weekly, on my website. And, folks, if you haven't been over there to check out the artwork, you really should. Also, I'd like to make sure that you know that I have another series in the world of Panamindorah. It's called The Prophet of Panamindorah, and it's geared towards a slightly younger audience, teens and mature children, although a lot of adults have enjoyed it. All 3 books are posted on Podiobooks, or you can get the whole thing in one feed at panamindorah.com. You can also do a search in iTunes for my name, Abigail Hilton, and find all my stuff that way. If you get impatient while waiting for more of Cowry Catchers, you should check it out. I'd like to leave you with some outtakes from the Cowry Catchers recordings. I hope you laugh as much as I did. I will see you in Book 2. You have been listening to The Guild of the Cowry Catchers by Abigail Hilton. Copyright Abigail Hilton. Cowry Catchers is an illustrated podcast. Artwork for this episode was created by Sarah Cloutier. To view these illustrations, and to learn more about this world and its author, visit the website at www.cowrycatchers.com. This podcast included the vocal talents of
Nathan Lowell
as Gerard,
Kimmy Alexander
as Thessalin,
Norm Sherman.
As Silvio.
Chris Lester.
As Gwaine.
Ryan Stevenson.
As Alsair.
Terry Mixon.
As Pharrell.
Rish Outfield.
As a sailor. Sound effects for this podcast were generously provided by SoundSnap and the Free Sound Project. The intro music for this podcast was Grace by Beth Quist. The outro music is Moonlight Flowers by Amoeba, both licensed with permission from Magnatune.net. This episode also included music by Diana Rowan, licensed with permission from Magnatune.net, Digital Juice, and Kevin MacLeod at Incompetech.com.
This is a standard copyright now. This podcast is provided for your personal enjoyment only. You can download and archive the episodes for your personal use. You may not re-upload, mirror, or publicly redistribute the audio files, nor can you alter, remix, or create derivative works.
Watching water flow, wear away the stone as the trees fall in the wind. Knowing time is stronger than will, and fate and time are sisters in crime.
A clumsy way of saying you killed over 50 pilots. Not pilots, because we don't have planes. Okay. In that role, you answer only to me, not to anyone else, including Silvio Lemire. I need to say that name right, don't I? Sorry. We will try that again.
All right, Abigail Hilton.
No, don't say her name. Say your name.
That's your real name. Oh, how am I supposed to say my name? Big Anklevich.
Oh, I think I can be more robotic than you. Rish Outfield.
All right, we'll say him again at the end for ones you can really use. Okay, the story so far. Or should I say the story thus far?
Say nothing, just...
This is a fantasy book, after all.
What is a fantasy, Big Anklevich?
A fantasy.
Not to anyone else, including Silvio Lemire. All right, let's try that with a little bit less of the sex goddess, I think. Not at all. My name is Morcella. No, it's not. Not at all.
Not anymore. He's been disinherited. Not anymore. He's been disemboweled and impaled. He was determined to marry her, especially when her daddy had the shotgun right beside him. Oh, it was a nice wedding. You should have seen it. Lots of shotgun shells on the floor, lots of wine, lots of dirty looks. Well, anyway.
Don't you dare. Scare him away. He'll rattle the blinds.
Foul cat. Subscribe and experience Panamindorah like you've never heard it before. I'm going to kill a duck. Kill me some duck. Oh, I know what we're having for Christmas dinner. Loud duck. Subscribe and kill a duck. Another duck. Kill it. Hate it.
Am I distressing you, sir?
I hope so. Worried yet?
He came on deck rather sick, and I got to look at him. I can't even say that word. He's a shavier fawn.
Admiral Lemire, perhaps you are unfamiliar with my policy on such things, as we have not had this problem before. Let me enlighten you. As my admiral, you are free to I have to be able to get through this. I have other positions to fill with capable shells. You may serve me elsewhere. Let's do that one again. You need to go home and love your minstrel girl and sleep. Now you need to go home and leave your... She wants to say leave, yeah, right.
For ages, perhaps since the dawning of Grishnard dominance on the islands, the kings of Masia Major have... Damn, that is evil words. Evil, evil, evil.
No. We're not doing it again. We've served our time under Abigail Hilton.
Okay, let's see if we can find these lines here. I'm afraid it's going to be slow because I lost my paper that I highlighted all the lines on.
And because we've already done this.
Is this your lines or mine?
I'm sure I don't know.
Port Holovaris. Holovaris?
Holovaris.
I am Jalil Hamalabad. Jalil Mahasapita Pedalan. I hope you didn't bring that whore with you.
Okay, Jalil tried again to apologize.
Oh.
Ad-lib some fun stuff there.
Oh, okay. Well, okay. No, I didn't mean... The whore was somebody else. It was... The whore is... I like whores. Whores are nice. Please?
That's good.
Don't be mad. Whores are good.
Yes, they are, son. However, there is one point we must discuss first. Let me say that again. However, there is one point we must discuss first. Damn. However, there is one point we must discuss first. I just want to say discussed. Why? However, there is one point we must discuss first. Damn it.
Sounds good. Here's a burp for your burp reel.
I'm sure Abby does not have a burp reel.
Doesn't everybody have a burp reel?
Oh, I know you would. Come see me when you're old enough. I feel so gross saying that, like I'm a dirty old man on a park bench instead of a gay fox. Oh, I know you would, sugar. But come and see me when you're old enough. Too early. Oops. Woohoo! Oh, I know you would. Ah, fuck.
Is it not Montebank?
I don't know.
We better check.
I don't know. Oh, you want to try yeolddictionary.com?
Dictionary. Sorry, I don't use Montebank in my day-to-day speech very often.
I speak Maishan. How do you pronounce that? I'll give it a couple tries. I speak Maishan. I speak Maihan. I speak Majin. Yeah, I think I remember it being Majin. And which did Thessalon come from? Is it within sailing distance in the Meerkat? It's informative and has some details that are not common knowledge. There's a whole chapter on Maija Minor. Oh, that's Maija Minor, isn't it? Damn it. I could do that line better anyway. You won't be able to read it. It's written in the phonetic, and it's on some kind of very durable paper. I was hoping I could figure out what it was made of. I was hoping I could figure out where it was made. I just make your lines up. Put me down, Gerard. I'm feeling strangely aroused.
After dismissing Silvio, the priestess asks more personal questions and ends by kissing Gerard on the forehead. He hurries home to his wife, feeling confused and uneasy. And there's a really loud cat behind him. Give me a moment. We're going to try the whole thing once again. And that furry bastard's going to keep his mouth shut, right? Come here. All right. Hello, this is Kim, the comic book goddess, from a list of podcasts on comicbookgoddess.com, including this one, and from the Your Moment of Kim podcast at geekpantheon.com, and from the I'm Going to Kill Your Cat podcast, which has not been created yet. Excuse me. Okay, we're going to try recording while petting the cat that keeps on making the noise. Hello, this is Kim, the comic book goddess, from the list of podcasts on comicbookgoddess.com, including this one. That didn't work really well, did it? Hello, this is Kim, the comic book goddess, from a list of podcasts on comicbookgoddess.com, including this one, and from Your Moment of Kim podcast at GeekCon. Yep, the cat sucks.
He steps into an Ocelon tea house. He steps into an Ocelon tea house. He steps into an Ocelon tea house. He steps into an Ocelon tea house.
He steps into a tea house.
He steps into an Ochelon. I don't know, dude. That's what you get. Any problems with Ocelon, let me know.
I have problems with Ocelon.
But Big Anklovich.
Rish Outfield.
That's our names.
Let's say him a couple. If we do more than one character, let's have.
Big Anklovich.
Rish Outfield.
Big Anklovich.
Rish Outfield.
Big Anklovich.
Rish Outfield.
Big Anklovich.
Rish Outfield, We sail tomorrow. The Silver Fox has always had his way at last. Sorry, I missaid the line. The Silver Fox has had his way at last. Well, you see, Your Highness. My name is Captain Holvar of the police. I was the fourth member, the keyboard player.
Magister Albert says that he is honored at the presence of both Magister Albert says that he is honored at the presence of both the... Dang.
For every mistake you make henceforth, I shall slay one of your children. Go ahead.
Take an ear! No, tail!
Right buttock, come on!
Left buttock too!
I've got 12 pence on the right butt cheek!
Hi, I'm Jack Hosley, aka the Wander Wolf from WanderRadio.com. That's spelt with an A. Hi, I'm Jack Hosley from Wander... However, upon returning to the ship, Gerard learns that Silvio has disappeared. Dun dun dun! Sorry, couldn't help it.
Skipper's finally run into more trouble than he has knives. Spitty, he was a good skipper for all he was a foxling and a dock rat. And a pederast and a douchebag.
Do that last part again.
Which part?
The Spitty one.
Spitty, he was a good skipper. For all he was a foxling and a dock rat.
Sorry, Abby. Don't know what got into me there.
And I'm back. This is 2025 Abby, with some comments on this last episode in what used to be the first book. So this is when the story was shorter, and it was composed of 5 little slender books, and this is now part 1 of what is the current book 1 in the Pirates of Weferbane series. But I'm not editing these old episodes, I'm not changing them, so yes, this is the end of what used to be book 1. Thoughts on this episode? I still like the way this ends the first part. I do think you can really tell that I was afraid to ask for retakes from some of these voice actors, both because of how long it would take them to get back to me, and then also because I was a relatively unknown podcaster, and some of the people that I was getting lines from had much bigger names and much bigger followings, and I didn't feel like I could impose on them to ask for retakes. But the way I hear Pharrell in my head is nothing at all like the way Terry Mixon delivered those lines. I also am pretty sure he had not read the book, and I could have gotten what I wanted, but I would have had to make him redo all of those lines, because the tone is not what I wanted or was going for. But anyway, this was still, later in the series, I got bolder about making people redo lines that I was not happy with. But at this point, I kind of just accepted what I got. Anyway, those lines bothered me a bit. The hiss under Ryan Stevenson's lines for Alsair is terrible, and that was something that I did fix when I did the remastering for the professional version of the book. I didn't redo any lines. It was many years later, and that was not something that I could easily do, but I did get rid of a lot of background noise and hiss because the software and my abilities to manipulate it had improved in the intervening years. But anyway, I am largely happy with the way that final episode turned out. I feel compelled to also mention that the Guild of the Cowry Catchers is currently book 1 in the Pirates of Wefervain series. They used to be called, I think, Embers, Flames, Ashes, Out of the Ashes, and Shores Beyond the World. And I only kept 2 of the, well, I took the what was originally the series title, which was the Guild of the Cowry Catchers, and I called that book 1 of the reorganized series. And then I also particularly liked the title Shores Beyond the World, so I kept that as book 2. But anyway, I know that's a little bit confusing, but this is what happens when series get written over long periods of time. Audiobooks is no more. I have said that previously. The notes at the end about where you can get the books are largely incorrect, although cowrycatchers.com does redirect to my website, which is abigailhilton.com, and you can find my store from there. You can find all of the books and audiobooks there in my store. You can also find the first 4 on all major retailers. The final book, The Cormorant, is still only available from me, and that's because the audience for it is just really small, and what I make per book sale is just so piddly on retailers that I kept it on my website because that's the only way I've got any hope of actually getting paid or making back its cost of production, in my opinion. If and when it makes back its cost of production, my intent is to go ahead and put it on retailers, but until then, it's going to live in my store. So the only place to get Cormorant is shop.abigailhilton.com, which you can also find if you go to my website. I've mentioned the artwork before. I mention it again myself from 2009 mentions it again at the end of this episode, and I wanted to say the piece, the painting, the watercolor painting that Ra did for this episode is one of my favorites. It's Gerard carrying Silvio back to the ship. Silvio has some soot on his paws, and it's kind of dawn in the background, and there are people coming and going around them, and his fluffy tail is kind of sticking up, and he's got his arms crossed in little fists like he doesn't want to hang on to Gerard. It's a pretty painting. The colors in some of those early watercolors are so very delicate. It was hard to ever scan it and get accurate results, but it is a pretty picture, and if you've not seen it, you should come over to the Patreon where you can see all of those illustrations for free. I mentioned the Prophet of Panamindorah at the end of this one. I produced that book first. It was also written first. I've mentioned before in detail that the world of Panamindorah already existed from a previous series before I started into the Guild of the Cowry Catchers. Let's see. The outtakes. I love outtakes. Listeners love outtakes. You know who doesn't love outtakes? Retailers. Retailers don't like outtakes. So when I did professional versions of these books, I had to remove all of the outtakes. They wouldn't let me keep them in. Audible specifically would not let me keep them in, which was the only show in town at that point. And now there are other outlets for professional audio, although all of them take too big of a cut, in my opinion. But anyway, yeah, that's not considered professional. No one wants outtakes. So for a while, the outtakes were just kind of unavailable. And then when I brought my store back, I made sure they're in my store. So there's a number of little items in my store that are free, that are there, you know, for people if they find them. And the outtakes for all of Pirates of Wefravane are one of those items. So you can find the music. I've got the songs that I use most frequently that I thought made good listening on their own. There's a file for that. It's free. And you can also find the outtakes for the entire series. But I've got them all in one file, and I actually think they're more fun if they're consumed as I originally intended them to be consumed, which is after each book. So you're closer in time to the lines that the voice actors are trying to spit out. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. There's lots of cat interruptions in here. My cat Nim, at the time, he ended up living for almost 20 years, and he passed away just a couple of years ago at 19 and a half. But he is no longer with me. My current cats are Mochi and Newton. And they have both tried to interrupt these little segments multiple times, and I have trimmed out most of their interruptions. But there's a long tradition of cats interrupting Cowry catchers, so I may just leave future ones in. I know I left one in of Newt in the last one because I did. Not just my cat, but everyone's cat has interrupted their lines, and you will hear them in the outtakes. All right. Next up will be what used to be Book 2, is now currently Part 2 of Book 1. I will see you there. This is Abigail Hilton, and you have been listening to the Pirates of Wefravane saga. Join me on Patreon for early episodes, long-form interviews, forum access, personal updates, and lots of artwork, including maps and species charts. That's patreon.com/Abigail Hilton. If you want the whole story now with no interruptions and some remastering of the early books for sound quality, you can find the entire series at shop.abigailhilton.com, along with all my other novels. The audiobooks are delivered by BookFunnel. Background music was Hidden Sky by Jamie Sieber, licensed from Magnatune.net circa 2014. The Guild of the Cowry Catchers podcast is an audio adaptation of the Pirates of Wefravane saga, written and produced by Abigail Hilton. Original production copyright 2010. All rights are reserved to the author.